Ghosts and goblins follow near. Another Ghostlight Hours episode is here!
Welcome, folks, to a very special Halloween episode of Ghostlight Hours. This is Cedric, this is Cecil, and of course we have Mindy, and she's in her Halloween costume. She's dressing up as Spearmint. It was her idea. Anyway, today we will be talking to playwright and novelist Silas House about his piece, Unseen. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Silas House, and I am a novelist and a playwright. I live in Kentucky, and I teach at Berea College and Spalding University, both in Kentucky. My role in the festival is that I was commissioned to write a short play. The title of it is Unseen. Unseen is about a girl in high school and her mother. On Halloween night, the girl has to stay home alone because her mother has to go to work. So it's about a lot of things. It's a ghost story, but it's also about people having to go to work during this, the people who have to be out there with the public, and the way that throws childcare into new territory, and people not being able to be with others, and all the layers of this pandemic.
So, how did you decide what you were going to write about?
I wrote this back in the summer, I think, the late summer, and since my play is set on Halloween of 2020, I wrote it that way because I knew that it was going to be broadcast on Halloween. So I was actually writing in the future. Really, the only parameters that they gave me would be that it had to deal with the pandemic. So I could do whatever I wanted to with that and sort of choose my subject matter as I wanted. And these were the things I've been thinking a lot about. The loss of community that we've experienced during the pandemic. People who have to go to work during this. People who are forced to be alone during this. And also the way the pandemic has led to a lot of us having to be alone with our thoughts more. And so in this play, there's a girl that's working through the grief of losing her father. And so that is manifested in some interesting ways. I'm using a haunting as a metaphor for this unseen danger, the virus.
How did knowing that your play was going to be virtual, filmed, and delivered, how did that affect your writing? Or did it?
Knowing that it was going to be filmed didn't have too much to do with the way that I wrote it, simply because I just wrote it as if it would be performed on a stage, and I just left the rest of that up to the director, because I knew the director would take care of the filming process, and my responsibility was just to write a play. Knowing that it would be presented virtually, I did have that in mind when I was writing it, and some of the stage directions sort of offer two alternatives. For instance, there's one scene where the girl is on the phone with someone, and I say in the stage directions, that the other person's voice can be heard on the phone, or since this is going to be presented virtually, she could be talking to her via FaceTime, and it could be sort of a split screen.
I'll ask a question I asked all of my interviewees. What was your biggest challenge when writing this piece?
The biggest challenge in writing this piece was something I'd never encountered before, and that's that it really needed to be that the actors were not in close proximity to each other, because we had to be thinking about the safety of the actors who were doing the performance. It illuminated to me how often that I have my characters touch each other or be near one another, or even, there's a moment in the play where one character hands something to another character. And so instead of, normally I would just have the character hand that over. In this play, I have the character drops it into a chair, I think, or onto a table, and then the other character comes and picks it up. And that's just the nature of this pandemic world that we're living in. And so little moments like that, I think, make the play better, just because it is so of the moment.
Did you learn anything during this project?
I think that every time that I write anything, I learn more about writing. I think that the act of writing makes me a better writer every single time. And so I think writing this play especially, I've only written one other short play, and each time it reminds me of how hard it is to be economical, how hard it is to write something short. It's much harder to write a short piece than it is a full-length play, I think. And so I think that it made me think a lot more about how important every single word is, every line, and how, you have to create a characterizations in a really brief. You have to find sort of the perfect way to get these characters to reveal who they are in just a really short space. And so that makes you a better writer, I think, when you're challenged.
What are you the most excited about?
I am most excited about the fact that this play is set on the night of Halloween 2020, and that it is going to be presented on Halloween 2020. That is just a really cool thing, and it's something that has never happened for me before, and it's something I think you rarely see happen in theater, is that the actual production happens the night that it's set. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out and to watch it on the evening that it is actually set. Really, it'll truly be a play set in real time. Thanks so much to everybody at Emery and Henry. Thanks especially to you, Mary Eliza, for doing this show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Silas House, for talking with us today, and the pleasure was likewise. Thank you so much for joining me on this very special episode, and I hope you all have a very haunting Halloween. You never know what may happen. Isn't that right, Mindy? Oh my god, Mindy, that's where all my dark chocolate Kit Kats went to. Are you serious?
Well, you weren't gonna eat them.